Item number 8, professional services agreement with Bennett Engineering Services for engineering services for Garden Highway Improvement Project, Winship Road to Lincoln Road. Diana?
So in 2010, the city received a $680,000 through SACOG through the Bicycle and Pedestrian Funding Program to install 6-foot paved bike lanes and sidewalks on Garden Highway between Winship Road and Lincoln Road. In November of 2013, came before council and provided 3 different alternative concepts for the widening project, in which council proceeded forward with alternative 2, which was utilizing the existing right-of-way to provide 1 paved travel lane each direction, a 9-foot continuous left turn lane with the bike lanes and curb gutter and sidewalk. So the next step for the project was to hire an engineering firm for the design in coordination with Caltrans. This project is funded through federal funds, CMAQ funds, which are congestion mitigation air quality funds. There's a lot of strings attached to those funds in terms of the process that you have to go through with Caltrans to get approval with their right-of-way certification, utility coordination. And so based upon that, staff sent the RFP to 3 engineering firms and received 2 proposals back. After the review of the proposal, staff is recommending award of a professional services agreement to Bennett Engineering of Roseville in the amount of $140,461. And there was also at the November workshop a discussion about public utility easement on the west side of Garden Highway. I've sent letters out to the property owners. I've received some feedback from the property owners, and so I'm going to go through the process of continuing to try to contact the property owners that I've not heard from yet. So with that, the project is funded, like I said, through CMAQ funds, with the additional funds coming from developer impact fees.
Great. Thank you, Diana. Any questions for Diana at this point in time? I do have Pat Miller, who wishes to speak on this item.
Thank you for the opportunity to address this issue. In looking at this, there's a $47,000 difference in the 2 bids that were received, and the recommendation is to go with the high bid. And the reasoning was because MHM's proposal was not as comprehensive, and I'd like to know, what was included in that, because what I see, MHM is a local firm, number 1, and Bennett is Roseville, out of area, and the difference in cost is significant. And so I'm just real curious, because it's all taxpayer money. I don't care where it comes from, federal, state, or local. So $47,000 of taxpayer money, does it really need to be spent? Thank you.
Thank you. Diana, you want to answer that, please?
Sure, I can address that. Bennett Engineering allocated about 50% more hours to this project than MHM. They included geotechnical investigation work, the environmental work associated. We have to go through not only the California environmental process, but the federal environmental process as well. So they had a consultant, Bennett had a consultant associated with that was included more work than MHM's proposal. It was really based upon the number of hours. The project manager for Bennett Engineering, Trent Campos, who's here in the audience, local Yuba City resident, 22-year employee of Caltrans, very familiar with the Caltrans process. And because this project is so important to the city and the deadlines associated with the CMAQ funding and the fact that we need to have a seamless project through Caltrans, MHM does have some experience with this process, but not directly related to a street improvement project of this nature. And so they've developed utility coordination agreements and things like that, but not the same type as what's associated with this project. And so based upon all of these factors, we felt it was important to award to Bennett Engineering. With SACOG, it's important that you spend the funds that you receive and you meet the deadlines that you're given. And Bennett's proposal provided the schedule as to how they're going to do that. And like I said, allocated almost 50% more hours to this project.
Great, thank you.
Through the mayor.
Yes.
So, Diane, was your concern that with the MHM engineering that you would be having to come back and spend more later, time and money?
My concern was that it may not be fully comprehensive to meet Caltrans requirements, and my concern was that without the full understanding of the Caltrans process, would they be able to meet the schedule that's required for this project?
Because I had the same concern when I reviewed this report as Mrs. Miller, and wouldn't they be responsible? I guess the money part, they would probably be responsible since they bid it, but your concern is more on the timing, and we have to spend the $680,000 from SACOG by a certain deadline.
Mm-hmm.
That's the concern.
Yes.
Thank you.
Just a comment, and that is meeting the SACOG deadlines is imperative to this project, and making it move forward and making sure that we have a contract that gets us there is certainly one of the most important concepts of this, and I think the money is being well spent by Bennett to move this project forward in a very expeditious manner.
And I'll echo the same thing, and at a lot of the bids that do come back at the council, we do take a look at as a low bidder. And a lot of times when we look at these bids, it's always looking across, and that's our number one thing. Are we picking somebody who's here in Yuba City? And a lot of times we do want to pick somebody here in Yuba City. A lot of times you can't pick somebody here in Yuba City. And when you look at this bid with Diane talking about it, it is more hours, it is more in depth, it is more in detail as far as what we want to do. So when you're looking at dollars for dollars, yeah, you can come back and say one's higher, one's lower. But when you look at the work that's coming into this project, one's more detailed than the other. And I think if we want to do this, we're going to do it right the first time. So, any other questions?
It seems to be pretty reasonable to me. Thank you, Diana.
One last question. So the total cost, I mean, we're not sure exactly until the bids come out, but roughly in a range of about $1 million, and of that $1 million, 680 is coming from SACOG, right?
Yes.
Thanks.
I also want to note this is a not-to-exceed contract, and we'll be trying as hard as we can to be as frugal with the money that we can, and we were not going to expend any more hours than what's necessary to complete the project.
So it could cost as little, or...
Well, the benefit of having an ex-Caltrans employee is that as we're going through the process, there may be things that we can do with Caltrans to minimize some of the effort that's required, because they know the people that are there and they know the process.
In other words, we may not spend the entire $140,000.
It's hopeful that we won't.
Okay.
Right.
Any other questions? Not? Can I get a
The
motion?
mayor, I'd move the recommendation.
Okay, I got a motion
I'll second that.
and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries.